trying to claw their way into and up the Big Ten standings, and we are underway.
Yeah, Purdue Pete geared up here as well. Jacob Moran and Matt Ramos at 125 pounds. Also, you have to keep an eye on Ramos not giving up a takedown or back points here in this early season. Able to hold off Moran there. And Corey, you and I talked about this a little bit earlier this afternoon. You said that you thought that this match would be a little bit closer. Ramos with the higher ranking, but the two of these guys have locked up a few times already.
Yeah, they have. There's some familiarity between these two. Ramos in on a low single, nice ankle pick there. See if he can finish this off. Great sprawl by Moran.
Ramos working on that left leg. Moran trying to complete the movement. Stands him up, still has a hold of the leg. Ramos gets the trip and the three-point takedown. So Matt Ramos scores here just close to 2 minutes here in period number 1.
It was so important, Craig, that he kept improving his position on that ankle pick. If Ramos had hung out on that, it was pretty close to a stalemate call, which would have been a restart with no points. So great job working up to the knee, lifting that knee, and then converting it to a takedown.
So a minute and 8 seconds into this matchup here, and blood has already been drawn as we take a blood timeout. It looks like Matt Ramos is the party opened up as they get Ramos cleaned up. We also see Jacob Moran over there getting cleaned up, getting the singlet wiped off. Safety first here in the Big Ten Conference. As I said, a minute and 8 seconds passed by here early on. Ramos leads 3-0. What have you seen here early on, Corey?
Well, like I said, he did a nice job finishing that single. Both men had a sprawl early, which led to a pretty good defensive scuffle, but Ramos able to finish. He's got a little bit of a length advantage on Moran, so we'll see if he relies on that leverage. Moran, a little bit more compact build, so maybe a little bit more of a powerful wrestler for the Hoosiers, but good start by both men.
You take a look there at Jacob Moran, the grad student from Portage, Indiana. Steps on the mat this evening with a 16-5 record.
Yeah, third place at the Navy Classic, third place at the Sheridan. He got fourth at Midlands just a few weeks ago. Really nice start to his graduate season.
It would be a huge get if he was able to get this one here tonight against Ramos, pulling the upset. Ramos cleaned up. Minute and 52 seconds to go in period number 1. Matt Ramos leads Jacob Moran 3-0, and we are back underway after the blood stoppage. Ramos on top, Moran starting from the bottom.
This is one of the few ranked matchups that we do have on tap for this evening.
Tentatively 4 ranked matchups here this evening, this being the first. To see how that plays out, but Moran was able to get the 1-point escape there. It is 3-1 now.
34 seconds of riding time accumulated for Ramos.
A lot of time you see the wrestler on the bottom allowed to get up, let up, if you will. Ramos did a nice job trying to keep him down, but Moran really fought and earned that 1 point here on that one.
He did. Now we've got another stoppage as the nose wrap, it looks like, or the nose compact came out.
I mean, you wouldn't expect anything less in a blood rivalry, if you will, here in the state of Indiana. Blood being drawn twice in the first minute and a half of this matchup.
Yeah, we love it. This gives me a chance to drop in one of my favorite nuggets, Craig. You said it was one of the longest rivalries in college wrestling. It was 111th meeting. The first time these two teams met was February of 1914. They met twice in that first week. IU took both duels. That's just about 6 months before the outbreak of World War I.
6 weeks before the outbreak of World War I, 2 years after the Titanic sank. I mean, that is insane to think that for over a century, these two teams have been locking up on the wrestling mat. As they do so here, as you said, again, for the 111th time. It's kind of been a run, if you will, for either one of these teams. And one team will go on a run for 10 or 12 years, and then the other one will kind of reverse that. We'll see if the Hoosiers can continue that here this evening. Coming up on under 45 seconds to go, period number 1. Matt Ramos leads 3-1 for Jacob Moran. Ramos shoots. Nice sprawl there by Moran, holding off the 125-pounder for the Boilermakers.
So far, we've seen a couple shot attempts by Ramos and one by Moran, so good activity. Even if it's not leading to points, it should at least keep away from stall warnings.
Do you think that Ramos is being a little bit more careful here this evening? Not only has he been on the mat with Moran, but also respecting the ranking?
Yeah, I think so. When you're wrestling somebody who's among the top 20 in the country, now Ramos has a handful of ranked wins already this year, top 10 guys like Spraley and Ventresca. He's done well against ranked opponents. He's done well against everybody. But yeah, I think he knows to be careful out here.
So 3-1 after 1. Ramos will start period number 2 on the bottom. Moran will have top positioning. Ramos quickly to his feet. Moran showing off a little bit of the strength, but Ramos is able to get out. So a 4-1 score now for Ramos. Ramos looks to go back to work here. Nice job sprawling. Nice shot there by Moran. A bit of a stalemate as Ramos pushes off and shoots the single, but again, good defense by Moran.
We talked a bit earlier, Craig, on Ramos, a lot of bonus point victories this year.
This would be a big 3 points here. If Moran was able to finish, it'd be the first time Ramos has been taken down all season.
Ramos is in really good position here, actually, believe it or not. He's the one working up. If he can get his leg free, get that hold free, there's 3. On the aggressive move by Moran, Ramos turns it into points.
Matt Ramos showing how skilled he is and why he holds that #1 ranking. He was in deep water and was able to work out of it in reverse and get the 3-point takedown himself.
That's why it's so frustrating for opponents. You get something really good against him, and it doesn't matter.
Matt Ramos splashed onto the scene a couple seasons ago in the NCAA tournament and had that massive upset in the NCAA tournament. Wasn't able to finish off with the national title that year. That's what he's poised for and looking for here this season.
Yeah, no doubt. He's got unfinished business in his mind, and so far he's wrestling exactly like that. Not going out there trying to protect anything. He's been about scoring, showing his offense, and it's led to some really big results this year.
He has a good positioning right now on Moran. Coming up on 5 seconds to go, period number 2. Matt Ramos with a 7-1 advantage, and he will take that score into period number 3 at 125 pounds.
Ramos had a tight waist hold there for a bit. I thought he might try and go for the tight waist tilt, get some back points. He did not, must not have felt super confident in that hold, so he'll settle for the 7-1 lead.
Yeah, right after the horn went off, Leroy Vega, the Boilermakers assistant, shouting to Ramos, giving him some instruction of what he wants to do or what he wants to see here in period number 3. Ramos starting in top positioning. Moran on the bottom, and Ramos not allowing Moran up at all. Keeping him down on the mat. Minute 45 to go, period number 3.
Vega's been such a good addition for this coaching staff. National champion at Minnesota. He works with the lower weights. He works with Ramos a ton.
Moran gets the escape point. Matt Ramos committed to University of Minnesota out of high school, transferred to Purdue. A Christmas present for Tony Ersland 5 years ago, and he's been thankful for it ever since.
No doubt.
Sprawl there from Ramos as Moran tries to shoot. Ramos flip the hips, silky smooth, getting away from that. Both wrestlers back to their feet.
Really nice counter defense there by Moran to avoid the goal behind takedown for a second time.
Moran did get the second escape point, so it's 7-2 now. Almost in a splits there is Moran. Ramos trying to get around, and he does, and he gets the 3-point takedown and extending his lead now to 8, 10-2 here in period number 3.
Takedown so important there because that is that extra point. He's now in major decision land. If he can go for a turn, he might be able to run it up to a tech fall. But every team point is going to matter here tonight.
Under 30 seconds to go. We'll see if Ramos goes looking for and finds some more points here. As you mentioned, Corey, tonight those points are going to mean something. 2 years ago, it was a 1-point advantage for the Boilermakers heading into heavyweight, and they end up losing that matchup at heavyweight. So we'll see if Ramos can get some more points, and if that'll matter as we move along. The fans here in Mackey Arena to their feet to show some respect to the #1 ranked wrestler at 125 pounds, and Matt Ramos gets the 11-2 victory, extending his win streak to 19 in a row as he puts the hammer down.
Good win for Ramos, good start for the Boilermakers, and a 4-point edge on that team score after one bout.
The faithful here at